President-elect Trump making a triumphant return to the iconic Army-Navy game in front of a roaring crowd of thousands in Maryland yesterday.
Our next guest used to also play in the Army-Navy game when he played for West Point before spending nearly a decade as an Army helicopter pilot.
That was all before he became a congressman, joining President-elect Trump at yesterday's game, and says only in America is all this possible. Military veteran, Texas Congressman Wesley Hunt joins us now. Congressman, great to see you. I saw you there yesterday. We never got to pull each other aside and shake hands, but I did see you there yesterday in the suite. What I'd love to ask you is, you have a unique perspective. You played in the game, and I know it's cliched, and I hope everybody watching has heard this. If not, I'm going to say it anyway. It's the only game in the world where the men on the field playing the game would die for the people in the stands watching the game. Give us some perspective from your past of being on that field.
Well, no truer words have ever been spoken. And I got to tell you, yesterday was a bit of a rough day for me. I'm a West Point graduate. My brother's a West Point graduate, and so is my sister. So needless to say, it wasn't all that great of a turnout for us. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the score is at the end of that game. We know that every single cadet and everybody that's on that field, again, as you put it, is one to die for this great nation. And it's also known as the winner of that game is also gets the Commanders-in-Chief trophy. So the fact that our future Commander-in-Chief was there to watch this game speaks volumes. And I will also tell you this, one fun fact. Our last Commander-in-Chief, Joe Biden, did not attend that game. And so the importance to know that our president has our back, he supports us, it means so much, just especially in these trying times. We know we need strong leadership, and President Trump is going to display that for the next 4 years. We're really excited, and we are really glad that he showed up.
You know, can I just ask you about that? I mean, I know some people have made the suggestion that Democratic presidents get booed, and yet I think Barack Obama did make it at least once. Bill Clinton made it at least once. I'm just curious, do you feel disrespected, or do you just sort of let that roll off your back, the fact that the Commander-in-Chief himself didn't make time at all over his 4 years to come to the Army-Navy game?
It absolutely is a sign of disrespect. And keep in mind, every 4 years, the president of the United States gives a commencement speech at the academies. They do like a rotating tour of that. And so the fact that he didn't show up to that game actually does kind of hurt. Because, again, the Commander-in-Chief is the leader of our military. That is the person that decides whether or not we go to war or not. That is the person that can decide whether or not we live or die. That's the person that can decide whether or not we're going to pay the ultimate sacrifice. And so to see President Trump there, to see that leadership that's been missing for the past 4 years, that void of leadership that's been missing for the last 4 years, it really meant a lot to all of us there.
Congressman Tulsi Gabbard was there, somebody who Donald Trump is indicating that he's going to stand by despite the Democrat attacks. But so was Pete Hegseth, you know, former West Point. He was accepted into West Point, as we famously found out, because he's so meticulous and kept his acceptance letter.
He went to his safety school. He went to his safety school at Princeton.
that whole thing cracks me up. I mean, only Pete Hegseth, if you know him, he's so organized. He's so organized that he kept his letter.
Just to color on that, West Point, ProPublica was going to write a story suggesting Pete lied about getting accepted into West Point.
Yes.
Weirdly, Rachel and Congressman, West Point said he did never apply. Right. That's the real scandal.
That is the scandal.
But Pete produced the letter of acceptance.
Pete produced the letter, and now the people who are going to have to, you know, Pete's going to be their boss soon. I'd just like to get your idea of what the people in the crowd think about Pete Hegseth as a potential Secretary of Defense.
Pete is a friend of mine. I was able to do Modern Warriors with Pete on multiple occasions. Even before I was a congressman, he took a chance on me. President Trump selected him to continue to serve this great nation, and he is going to do one heck of a job as the next Secretary of Defense of this great nation. And regardless of what everybody says, regardless of all the smear campaigns, regardless of what the left might say, the reason why President Trump picked Pete, the reason why President Trump picked Tulsi, the reason why President Trump picked Kash Patel is because he doesn't want business as usual in Washington. And what we know about those three individuals is that they're going to go back to D.C. They're going to shake things up and put the American public and the American taxpayer first. That's what Pete is going to do, and I cannot wait for him to get confirmed.
Yeah, I think a lot of people certainly share that sentiment. Real quick, and we talk about AH-64 longbow, Apache. What are we talking about here?
That is my favorite aircraft of all time. That's what I got to fly for 8 years, 55 combat missions in Baghdad. So again, I mean, that was just an honor to be able to serve this country in combat. It's been an honor to be able to continue to serve in the halls of Congress and to actually go to that game yesterday. I have not been to that game since my senior year, 20 years ago. To go back to that game and to be able to sit there with the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, was an honor, and I'll never forget it.
Oh,
Great
that's
stuff.
a great moment.
Yeah.
All right, Congressman, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks, Congressman.
You have a blessed day, and Merry Christmas to y'all.
Merry
Christmas to you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.